so keen on Rosarito. If work summoned, he could be back at his desk in a matter of hours. The trip had started out well enough. Samantha had fallen asleep almost as soon as the car was out of the driveway, and Michelle had seemed content playing with her new Wonder Woman doll. Unfortunately, 15 minutes into the drive, an ill-advised attempt to get the doll to fly had sent Wonder Woman crashing to the floor, where she disappeared under the front seat, unleashing Michelle's first flood of tears. Then heavy traffic along Interstate Highway 5, coupled with a delay at the San Ysidro border crossing at Tijuana, had stretched the 30-mile drive into a 90-minute ordeal. Caroline wondered if she should have listened to Hunter when he'd suggested leaving the girls at home for the week, but that would have meant entrusting them to her mother, something Caroline would never do. Her mother had made enough of a mess with her own children. Caroline pictured her brother, Steve, 2 years her junior, a handsome man with sandy brown hair, a killer smile, and gold-flecked hazel eyes. His easy charm had made him their mother's pride and joy. But what he had in charm, he lacked in ambition, and he'd spent most of his adult life shedding careers as regularly as a snake sheds its skin. A year ago, he'd gone into real estate, and much to the surprise of everyone, except, of course, his mother, in whose eyes he could do no wrong, he seemed to be prospering. Maybe he'd finally found his niche. "I'm thirsty," Michelle wailed, the word threatening to stretch into eternity. "Sweetheart, please. You'll wake the baby." "She's not a baby." "She's asleep." "And I'm thirsty."
"Okay, that's enough,"
Hunter snapped, spinning around in his seat and waving his index finger in the air.
"Listen to your mother and stop this nonsense right now."
Michelle's response was immediate and complete hysteria. Her shrieks filled the car, bouncing off the tinted windows and pummeling Samantha awake. Now 2 children were screaming.
"Still think kids were a good idea?" Hunter asked with a smile. "Maybe your brother is right after all."
Caroline said nothing. Hunter was well aware that her brother and his wife, Becky, had been trying unsuccessfully for years to have a family of their own. Their failure to do so was a constant source of tension between them, a situation Caroline's mother took great pains to exploit, chiding Becky regularly for not providing her with more grandchildren and causing unnecessary friction between her daughter and her daughter-in-law. Divide and conquer, Caroline thought. Words her mother lived by. What else was new? "How much longer?" Caroline asked.
"We should be there soon. Hang in there."
Caroline leaned her head against the side window and closed her eyes, her daughter's cries piercing her ears like overlapping sirens. Not exactly an auspicious start to their vacation. Oh well, she decided. It can only get better. They were there, waiting. At first, Caroline thought that she must have fallen asleep in the few minutes between closing her eyes and their arrival at the magnificent Grand Laguna Resort Hotel, and that she had to be dreaming. But after sitting up straight and lowering her window, she realized that what she was seeing was, in fact, very real. That there were, indeed, 6 people standing outside the main entrance of the hotel, waving in her direction and laughing, their familiar faces looking pleased and self-satisfied. "What's going on?" she asked Hunter, as a valet in a crisp white and gold uniform stepped forward to open her car door.
"Welcome to the Grand Laguna,"
the valet said, his words all but disappearing into the chorus of "surprise" that was rushing toward her.
"Happy anniversary,"
said Hunter, the smile on his lips spreading to his soft brown eyes. He bent forward to kiss her. "I don't understand." He kissed her again.
"I thought you might enjoy having some family and friends along to celebrate our anniversary." "Hey, you two," Caroline's brother Steve called out. "Get a room, for God's sake."
"Good idea," Hunter said, laughing as he exited the car. He was quickly surrounded by the 3 waiting men. "Isn't this the most absolute..."